In Virginia, he says hello on Mad Dog Unleashed. Marv, good afternoon. How are you today? What do you have for me?
I'm doing good, Doggy. This first-time caller.
Nice to have you aboard, Marvin. What's on your mind now? Let me hear.
Hey, I was just, first of all, I'm a suffering New York Knicks fan. We'll get there one day. But I was just listening to the conversation regarding the Lakers. I think the biggest thing to think about with the Lakers is they've put themselves in a position to take on two max players as they move forward. It may or may not be, as you said, we don't know who it's going to be. It certainly could be LeBron, but it may not be LeBron. May not be George, but there's other players out there. So I think they put the organization in a great spot to be successful in the future.
Well, I think so too. They got a couple things going for them. They have tradition. It's Los Angeles. They got magic in them. They have magic in the mix. Now they don't have a good team. Now they got a couple of young, interesting pieces. Ball might be pretty good. Inge from Duke has got a lot of ability. I haven't seen enough of Randall as a pro to get a sense of him. They got Kuzma that everybody seems to love. They have a couple of good pieces, but they also play in an undesirable conference, which is very difficult to win with a lot of good teams. And they got they got the best team in their own division that nobody's going to beat them no matter what they do. And they also now are in a situation where they have to pry away a couple of players, max players, who might be in comfortable situations. From what I can see, I've been watching Oklahoma City a lot. It seems like George likes playing there. They play in front of sold-out arenas every night. Westbrook is, he's whatever. Westbrook's got his faults, but he's got Westbrook there who's signed. Anthony's going nowhere. He is signed. So, there's no guarantee George is going to go to L.A., and George won't go to L.A. unless LeBron goes with him. And, Marvin, how does anybody know in the world what LeBron's going to do?
Nobody knows, Dougie. Nobody knows. But I will say the other thing to keep in mind, my final point would be, it's not necessary that they go out and sign a free agent. They may be able to take on contracts that are existing out there with major players, just absorb the contracts through, trades and what have you. So it's not just depending on just going out and signing new contracts with free agents.
But for the Lakers, for this policy to work with the Lakers, Marvin, they have to get, they got to get LeBron there. Poor George is not going to win them a championship. They need, for what they have done, basically tank another season. They stink. Clearing out cap space, all true, and I understand they need a franchise player there. And George couldn't win in Indiana, so he's not going to win in L.A. by himself. So the only guy who could do that is LeBron, who can change the real future of the team. How do we know he's going to do that?
Box office. He's box office.
Right. How do we know? George is a very good player, but there's a million of those. How do we know that LeBron, the transcendent player, how do we know LeBron's going to L.A.? Does anybody know that? I don't know that.
Nobody knows that. Only LeBron knows.
Yeah, even Magic doesn't know. Magic is hopeful. And listen, Marvin is right. The Lakers have set themselves up to at least be in a conversation. Tradition, Magic, City, obviously cap space, a couple of good young players. They have some things going for them. Now, the Cavs have some things going for them, too. It's home. They're still decent. They got a high draft. Now, the Lakers have a high draft pick, too, but they got a very high draft pick, forthcoming, a number one pick, and he's from Akron. So they have something, and they're not in the Eastern, and they're not in the Western. That Western Conference is a bear. You want to sit there and, beat your head in the wall to win 48 games and then get knocked out in the second round every year? Now, I don't know if LeBron wants that. We're going to have to wait and see. It's fascinating. And he's a drama queen. He loves every minute of it. He's going to be the topic. He is now, outside of a couple of things and a couple of weekends, maybe in golf and a couple at the Masters and, maybe a day or two opening day Magic and a couple days of the NCAA tournament, he now... And, there'll be some free agent activity with the quarterbacks in the draft and Cousins. But he now is the story in sports until June 18th. Let's be honest. There's a couple things that will shy away from, that will take some of the glare away. But he is essentially the story in sports. What he does in the postseason and where he goes between now and July 1st is the biggest story in sports. And he loves that stuff. He's a big sports fan. You can't get enough of it. Here's Jimmy in Cleveland. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Jim, good afternoon.
Hey, Chris, total drama queen. I love him, but he is a drama queen.
Drama queen.
Yeah. Addition by subtraction. Living here, Isaiah and Crowder, complete cancer. And Crowder, by the way, the Crowder that was playing for Stevens in Boston is not the Crowder we got. The Crowder we got is this guy who seems totally nonplussed. He wants nothing to do with the game. And so anyway, that was addition by subtraction. I'm interested to see how this works. But I'd like to say something about him going to Lakers and all these people talking about that. All these people who are talking about him going to Lakers, it's as if, they got all these good young players. LeBron he's not worried about potential or 3 or 4 year plan. He's got like a 1 to 2 year plan. He's not going, and he's going to go to LA to work with a bunch of young kids who he likes to see if he can beat Golden State. It's never going to happen. Now, I'm not saying he's going to stay in Cleveland, but the idea that he's enthralled by LA is just a joke because he's not interested in young potential. He's interested in the here and now. So I would say that. And then the one thing I wanted to say to you is,
I agree with that. I know if he takes George with him, it's a little different, but I generally agree with that. Go ahead.
Well, but I agree with you that George seems to be really interested in what's going on. I think he likes Westbrook a lot. I think he sees it as a really dynamic duo. So my question for you is, and I know you might kill me for this, but at some point, are you ever going to cover what happened at Michigan State? Because I know it's not the Sandusky thing, but that thing is pretty bad, and it makes a lot of people. I did not. I have tried to stay away from it. I know Dan Antonio, and I know the Izzo thing. I get it. We did weeks and weeks on Penn State and Paterno. I have not spent too much time on it. I don't think Izzo. I think that both of them are going to be probably okay. I don't. The Michigan, the folks who wanted their scalp got the president and the AD out of there. They do want to win. I would be surprised if anything happens to the other two of them. Izzo is now. Again, I understand the scenario there, but I have not done a lot on it. That to me is too depressing. 8 in front of the hour. We continue here on Mad Dog Unleashed.